All right. Let me catch you up to speed. It's 11:18 p.m. on August 24th, Tuesday. I left Calgary at around 3 in the afternoon. Originally, I decided I'd head back to my old stomping grounds, and I headed for Devon, Alberta, right across the river from Prospector's Point. Done with the prospecting thing, let's just go back to a sure thing, dig hard, and turn that into a good little trip. And I get there. Guess what? It's now a $10 parking fee. So I pay my $10. Oh, guess what? I'm good until midnight tonight. So there's no way to actually park multiple nights. So I sort of did the old random pick a spot on Google Maps, had a little look, went there. Everything was good except for the fact that the launch was completely washed out. Like there's just no way, even with like a proper 4x4 and tire chains, like you just can't get in there anymore. That was kind of the end of the day. So, okay. Pick up one final spot that I've actually been before. I've actually been at this location in one of my Throwback Thursday videos. I walked down to the boat launch. Everything looks good. But like I said, it's about 11:30 p.m. and I am done for the night. Not only do I not have navigation lights for the boat, but I mean, I have no business driving around in pitch black with zero lighting, trying to figure out a place to camp. So tonight, I am camping in the back of the old Subaru wagon. I've basically got a sleeping pad. I've slept on this at -10. It's fine. This is just my summer sleeping bag. This bag is probably over 20 years old. It's a old Mountain Company Co-op bag, and I can use this as a blanket on top if I get really cold. So I'm just leaving that in the back. I'm just going to go for a little walk down to the boat launch in the dark, and then we'll see you there tomorrow morning. Beautiful little chill in the air. I'm sure tomorrow morning there's just going to be dew on everything, and we'll be able to try to get the boat into this river. Hunt for gold. Okay. Go have a little look-see at what the river looks like. Not too bad, not too bad. Well, hello, beautiful. Can't see any diggable gravel, but that's why I have a boat. Time to travel. And hopefully get onto some good gold, because all I really want to do right now is dig. Well, I had everything nicely packed in here, ready to go. Even got my drone in this container here. Had the straps off the boat. And then I realized I don't have a shovel. anywhere to be seen in all of this gear. You remember pretty much everything, and then the absolute basics are nope. Luckily, there's a farm supply store nearby, and I don't know much about farming, but I assume shovels are useful on a farm. Time is money right now. I gotta get in the water quick, but first, shovel trip. That's where you belong. Not much for gold yet, but there's just a bunch of these clamshells around. Like, I don't know if they taste any good, but that's a pretty decent size. Well, I've been out for a couple hours now. Let's see, it's not even 11 o'clock yet, so plenty of daytime left. I am going to be looking for an actual like inside bend coming up, but I figured I'd just check out what was sort of along an edge like this. And I mean, it's not really a lot you could dig right now, but I was just curious. Not much, always worth checking. But I did find this guy right here. Just wish I was onto a little more gold. I did find one spot, it was like just a straight edge like this and a bunch of rocks in it. And in those rocks there was about 8 to 10 colors, but like they were all coarse, nothing fine. So that was kind of cool. And then I found 40 colors in just a big sandbar earlier, but super, super fine. So back to looking. There's your little beastie hiding under a rock. There he is. Decent sized little guy. So this whole river is kind of like this. And I figured I'd come take a pan out of this area here. There was actually a little bit of gold. Underwater, and I'm just kind of wondering maybe if the river level goes down I should have a look. And the only reason I'm doing that is there is not a lot of gravel here. So the whole river, like the river did come up because it rained recently, but it's almost as if there's like just no gravel in this part of the river. So I'm not really sure what to do about that. I've just been panning a little bit everywhere and not really a lot of luck yet. You guys just look vicious. What do you eat? If that was on land, I would be scared of it, absolutely. But there's something about underwater insects where it's like, ooh, those must be delicious. But yeah, it's like 6 inches long. Next to, of course, my shovel with the brand new sticker still on it. It's really hard to be in a bad mood out here. The river is beautiful. The weather is beautiful. Everything is just so nice. I just haven't had luck with gold yet. But rather than this be a video about how I drove around aimlessly trying to find a river and then drove around aimlessly trying to find gold, I am gonna show you my best pan so far. So I'm looking at about 70 colors, and what's really cool about it is there's so many garnets. It's big chunky garnets everywhere, and so instead of just seeing the black sand at the end, you see this nice red color. So that's kind of cool and unique, but it's not worth setting up here yet because my personal goal is to hit 200 colors in a pan, or maybe less if they're coarse. But I think once I get there, that'll be sort of that minimum to motivate me that yes, I can just go balls to the wall and dig for the rest of the day. Excuse the wind noise. I'll try to hide this behind my body here. So we're zeroing in. Wind's blowing like crazy. This is gonna sound rough, maybe, but that is one shovel. Haven't counted that off camera yet to tell you what's there, but it's a decent amount. Maybe like 100 colors, 150. And then in that pan, there was, sort of in the backside here, it's not gonna show up too well, but decent amount of garnet still in here. There, some dirty garnets up around the top there. But it's a pretty looking pan, and the gold in there is, I hope that shows. Yeah, no, that's showing up on camera. But yeah, I am going to keep dialing in this area, and spirits are lifted. I might have a place to dig, and even better, just up there is a flat spot where I could put my tent. So it's just the ultimate camping, gold mining, excellent day. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's amazing what some like promising gold actually does to the spirit. Now we're talking, ladies and gentlemen, one shovel. All right, here I'm counting about 200 in one shovel. So what we know, right here there's about 150, and it goes deep. So I took a shovel off the surface, and it's actually a little bit deeper at this spot as well. Then we come up the bank to here, and oddly enough this was down to about 60, but I figured okay, I'll keep on keeping on, and it was this little bit of dirt. Yeah, that shows up, you guys aren't blind. That little bit of dirt up here just got me about 200. So right on the water's edge, I think they were more coarse down there, but then right up here, super fine flour stuff, but about 200 of them. So I'm going to continue working my way up, and then it's a relatively small gravel bar from the tip to where I am. So once I sort of have, like, you know, maybe there's a pay streak up here as well as a water's edge pay streak, two separate ones. So I'm going to work up there and figure out sort of where the best spot to set up is. I know, more gold, less shells, but what is this place? An ocean? That is massive. If anyone out there knows if these freshwater clams are, I'm assuming they're edible, but if they're delicious, maybe I'll have to dig for clams one day, because that's like, that's massive. Anyways, back to gold. Well, thanks to a little late day start, the sun is behind these trees here. This is my dual dream mat. How interesting. Well, let's have a little look-see. Following the old lay flat up to the old high banker, and oh, what's this? So today I'm going to test this out. I cut this to width, so it's sort of tight in here, but it's just sort of stuffed under the front. There's nothing holding this from sliding out. So my hope is that all of the fine sand sort of like packs itself into the sides and just jams this in place. Same with the bottom mat. You can see that goes down there It's all just jammed in. So this is miner's moss right here, and underneath that is this small V-rib matting. So anything goes through the miner's moss sort of gets trapped up in these ribs. That's kind of the gold standard. So there's a few sluice studies that were done where they actually like measure exactly how much gold was caught with radioactive tracing and stuff. One of them is called the Pop and Sun sluice, and that is kind of the gold standard for ultra fine flour gold. If you're gonna really finely classify, that is a 12-foot long version of this, and it has several different types of that expanded mesh on top. I've heard that just this by itself, providing you go slow on the water flow, should also work just fine. So I'm basically just going to copy and paste exactly what the internet says for Pop and Sun sluice in terms of water flow and everything. I'm going to run this thing nice and slow and easy, and this will be my first time ever actually using miner's moss in a high banker. So it's been long enough. The biggest issue everyone says is you get too many concentrates to take home, but I don't really mind concentrates these days because I have a cleanup sluice and plenty of room for cons. So let's fire this thing up and see how she looks. Almost immediately, we have a problem, Houston. Well, for the top mat, I just took a piece of stick, and where there's a piece of aluminum like this and it sticks underneath, I just sort of jammed that in there and it got her nice and tight. So rather than building some special side pieces, I guess I'll take the top off, jam that into the bottom, put the top back in, and then we'll see how that goes. It's like I'm building a lake here as well. I'll have to deal with that. I've got a little stick jammed in under that, so it's holding it, I hope. Using a little water here, so let's turn it back on. Alright. Well, I'll definitely have to keep an eye on, yeah, it doesn't want to go anywhere. Don't want to just randomly donate all of my gold to the ground all of a sudden, so keep an eye on those, but I think they're holding pretty good right now. Once they get jammed full of black sand, I'm sure that'll help. This current level of water flow, I'm gonna see how it looks. I'm at idle. It's running 24 inches of sluice. I have a feeling I could probably put a little bit more water into it, but let's see how it goes. All right, so the initial test results, I just took a pan, put the tub underneath it, and I did the exact same thing that I do for the dream mat, which is I will get it sort of running steady state where I'm feeding it, and you know, it's as full as it'll be. And then after I throw a shovel in, I take a tub, stick it underneath, and then throw another shovel in. And then I take the tub out so that it's as if it was sitting there sort of steady state. And the other test I do is after the last shovel goes in, I will leave the tub underneath for about 2 minutes with it running regular speed, just to see if anything scavenges out. With the dream mat, the instantaneous, like if I was putting 100 colors in, I would see 20 colors in my tailings, so about 80% kind of thing. And then if I left it running for a long period of time, you might see like 3,000 colors in there if you were, you know, you had a lot of material in there. So it was definitely losing a lot just running empty. With this, it's running a lot slower water flow already. And what I did was I threw a shovel in that had about 250 colors, and then I stuck the tub underneath and I waited and I let it run for 2 minutes. So I found 10 colors in the tub out of, well, for ease of math, instead of 250, let's say I put in 200 colors went in, 10 colors came out, and that's even after having it sit for about 2 minutes. So that's a 5% loss. So I'm keeping 95% now instead of 80%. I'm gonna do that test again later, because one of the common things with miner's moss is this is not yet full of black sand. So right now there's a bunch of blonde sand in there as well as black sand, and you're going to catch a lot of that gold because you're just catching everything heavy. But once this gets completely full of black sand, it's not quite as good at sort of filtering it out. So maybe in like 200 shovels from now, when this is just packed full of black sand, then my results will be different. Miner's moss, when it's fresh, works phenomenally well. And if you're willing to do a cleanup like every hour, then it will continue doing really, really well. But let's see if in time how that continues. I do have 24 inches wide, so it's a fairly large recovery area. So let's wait to about 200 colors and I'll do that same test again. Ah, boy. Well, they do say bad luck comes in threes. I don't know. I thought we were at 2, so this might be 3. Maybe it's all good from here on out. But I have this lovely Honda GX160 water pump, and it runs my operation. And my old WX15, I wanted to get a little bit more water flow than it could provide, because the double level dream mats really take a lot of water flow. With this setup, I don't need very much water at all. I'm just a crack over idle to run all 24 inches wide. So that's cool. That means I can go back to the WX15. Problem is, I don't have the WX15 here. I just have, this can go down here. I just have my Honda and it's dead. So this little soundproof box of mine, I was experimenting just to see if it would be a little quieter. Random project. I even drilled some holes. So in the lid there, you've got a bunch of holes here. You've got gap underneath the bottom, underneath that side, big hole going out the back. Silly me assumed that because I was just running this thing pretty much at idle, I could leave the lid on. I remember before I was like, ooh, it's getting a little warm in there, better leave the lid off. So I had the lid on and engine just stopped. Now, I don't know exactly what's wrong. It wasn't like stupidly hot in there, but I probably overheated something, and it's been about an hour. Still won't start. I'm assuming it's a spark plug. Maybe the spark plug melted or something like that. But I just looked through my entire toolkit and I have no way of getting in there and actually getting that plug out. So through the years of toolkits going from box to box to box, I don't have a spark plug wrench, unfortunately. So that might be it for finding gold this trip. Bummer. But hey, I know a spot, so if I do get some more time, I can come on back and try again. If this is the end of the video, actually, you need fuel, and I can smell gas coming out the exhaust. You need air. Air's going in. You need compression. Feels like there's compression, it's not seized or anything, and you need a spark. I can't get at the spark plug to see what's going on. I've done all the troubleshooting I can think of, and I don't have the tool to get that spark plug out there. I don't even have a spark plug, which normally I bring a spark plug and a spark plug wrench. All right, let's go have a look at where we left off. It's only seen maybe, I don't know, 40 or 50 shovels. I dug this out because I was just going down in layers because I wanted to see what was at the very surface, what was just below the surface. The surface has a bunch of roots and stuff. It's hard for the machine to deal with. Right on top of, there's a bunch of rocks down here in the next layer. But the layer that was below the surface and right on top of these rocks, that had like 250 colors in a pan. I left a shovel in the hopper so that when I turn the water back on, it doesn't just run empty. Might as well just scrape that all off now since I have no water. run the mats into the tub and take them down to the river's edge and clean them all out. We'll see how much concentrates we get out of all of this. Quick little cheer me up. Decent amount of concentrates came out of that. There's actually a little bit more than this. I sort of panned some of the lights off. And here, I guess I should probably back pan this for you. Look at that beautiful front edge of gold. Doing the swirl, trying to hold the camera still. But yeah, that is just a small amount of the total take. So, I mean, for let's say 50 shovels, considering it could be a lot worse. I just really wish I could keep digging here. All right, I figured out how we're gonna end this video. So I've thought about this many times. I've probably gotten ready to say goodbye, everybody. I fixed the engine. So I'm going to dig as long as I can stay awake, and I will see you for the cleanup in the next video, and that's where I'll show you building the cleanup sluice and the actual cleanup from what I can do tonight. So here's how we did it. I was able, with the air filter off, I took this file and this hammer, also known as the old 1 16ths, and just by hitting the corner of the spark plug and just bashing at it like that, I was actually able to spin the spark plug loose. Opened it up, there's a bit of carbon in there. I filed it up, put it back in. It ran for a couple seconds and then died again. Opened it up again. I increased the gap because I think there was some carbon in the cylinder, maybe from the oil kind of getting hot and coming through. I don't know what was going on. Put it back together, seems to run just fine. So I am partially exhausted and partially super excited that I can dig a little bit more at this spot so that there will be some good gold to show in the cleanup next week's video. Pump is on, choke's off, fuel's on, throttle at the bottom, and she runs. Water's coming out the high banker. That is a beautiful sound. So, celebrate. A little bit of caffeine. I typically do not have caffeine, but since the evening is still young, it is only 8:49 p.m. Yeah, winter's coming. It's getting darker. I think I've earned myself just a little spiced rum and cola. Oh, that is so good. All right, until next week with the new cleanup sluice, we're gonna see some gold. Till then, cheers and thank you for watching. Oh, that is a treat. Oh, yeah. Woo! Yes!